director Matt Dowell, who just finished talking with the Gamecocks after they survived the upset. Dowell, what's the feeling like for the team as they live to dance another day?
Well, Vereen, I think that the feeling from everyone, maybe not just here in Albany, but back in Columbia, is to just take a deep breath. I think the blood pressure of Gamecock fans is still trying to come down just 4 hours after this game is over, as South Carolina survived a huge scare tonight, a 4-point victory over the Hoosiers. South Carolina coming out with a big win, or big lead, I should say. They were playing really, really well, very reminiscent of what we saw against the Tar Heels to build that 22-point lead, but then South Carolina taking their feet off the gas, and Indiana is a really good three-point shooting team, one of the best in the nation, and they took advantage of South Carolina's lapse in play. Indiana getting it back to a 2-point game in that fourth quarter. South Carolina, though, coming up with some big shots, including a Raven Johnson three-pointer and some big free throws and good defense in the last minute. But for South Carolina, they know the name of the game is survive and advance. They're not happy with how the game ended, but they are through to the Elite Eight. After the game, we got to talk to head coach Dawn Staley, who went through and analyzed what she saw went wrong in that second half.
They got comfortable with the lead, and we've been a team that we've given up leads because we get so comfortable that we start taking ill-advised shots, and we did that a little bit today in the third and fourth quarters, and not being calculating in where we want that ball to go. That ball should have touched Camilla's hands, no matter if she shot it or if she kicked it out. So we wanted to work inside out, definitely, and we didn't do that a lot of times in the third and fourth quarters, and it ended up almost biting us in the butt.
Speaking of Camilla, she was pretty dominant today. What did you see from her in this matchup?
Dominant. Like I haven't seen her play like that in a long time, meaning she imposed her will, her strength. She used her body. She used her determination to put us on her back and carry us over the finish line.
So domination from Camilla Cardoso, but for the rest of the team, seems like important to learn lessons from this quickly before the Elite Eight Sunday. Dowell, what did the players have to say after squeaking out with a victory?
Well, the players were actually pretty calm afterwards. You know, they were happy with the win. They know what they did wrong. They were really echoing a lot of what Coach Staley had to say. We actually talked to the players before we talked to Coach Staley after this win. But South Carolina knows how good they are when they're playing well, but they also know that they've had a tendency to let these teams back in. And they know that the more they advance in this tournament, the more they cannot afford to do that. The teams are just going to keep getting better from here on out. But one thing that Dawn Staley did point out is that this Indiana team they played today is a very experienced group. A lot of juniors, seniors, and fifth years on this team that have played together for a very long time. This South Carolina team, of course, most of them playing together this year for the first time ever. Most of them playing in this tournament for the first time ever. So there was an experience element to this game that South Carolina was able to overcome, and it was a game that Dawn Staley knows could have gone another way had things fallen differently in that second half. But for South Carolina, they tell me they're not really thinking about the negative of this game. They're just going to watch film and regroup for Sunday's Elite Eight. After today's Sweet 16 win, I got to talk to a number of the players who addressed what went wrong in the second half, and I got to talk to Raven Johnson and Camilla Cardoso about that huge three-pointer Raven hit in the fourth quarter.
I thought we did a really good job in the first half. You know, our motto was 2-us rather than 3-us, and I thought we did a really good job in the first half, and I think we got lackadaisical in the second half, and that's how they got back into the game. When you have Paris shooting catch and shoot threes, you know, when you have a shooter like that, she's definitely going to knock it down, and that's what we did. We got really comfortable with it, and they got back into the game with the perimeter shooting.
I mean, we trust us, we trust our coaches, and we just have to get down. We don't want any more games like this, though. But yeah, we were pretty confident.
Oh yeah, no, we're not thinking about this game. You know, we're surviving and advancing, exactly what you said. You know, we're going to think about the things that we could have done better, differently, especially because Oregon can also shoot well from the three-point line. But yeah, well, you know, we're just moving on to the next game, definitely.
Yeah, I was very confident. I mean, she gave me the ball, and I was was actually ready to shoot the ball this time. So I think when I let it go, it felt so good just coming out my hands. And when it went in, I was like, oh yes, like I was so happy.
How do you stay calm in those big moments?
Coach Staley. I mean, I look at her all the time. If she's calm, I'm going to be calm. So I think it started with Coach Staley.
I seen her open, and you could tell in her eyes when she's going to make a three. She wanted. So I just kicked it out, and she knocked it in.
So it was just reflex from you?
Yeah. We have a really good chemistry. We played together for 8 years, guys.
So the players taking the positives from surviving and advancing, and I hear some crediting of Dawn Staley helping them stay confident in crunch time. But Dowell, Staley not the only Dawn playing a part in the local sports scene up there in Albany.
Yeah, Vereen, what any team needs after a win like this is good food. We all know Dawn Staley is one of the biggest names in women's basketball, but here in Albany, she's not the only Dawn. There's another one here in upstate New York. Dawn Lynch, owner of Dawn's Victory Sports Cafe, an obvious connection with the Gamecocks head coach. So this morning, I had to go meet her. Here in downtown Albany, Dawn's Victory Sports Cafe is ready for March Madness. The restaurant is owned by Dawn Lynch, who just celebrated her 9-year anniversary with the cafe on St. Patrick's Day. With 8 teams in Albany this year, Lynch says it's going to be a very busy weekend for them.
Everybody downtown is a little short-staffed, so it's going to be a challenge, but I'm going to take it on. My girls are going to take it on, and we're going to do what we can do.
Dawn Lynch knows Dawn Staley and the stature she has, and says she admires the legendary coach for what she's done for women's sports.
Her dedication. She doesn't give up, and she keeps going, going, and going.
2 Dawns in Albany this weekend who are in leadership roles, and Lynch hopes this next generation of women keeps striving for these positions.
It's amazing that they see these girls and they want to be them. I think it's great. I think more women need to take a chance. I took a chance. I did know what I was doing, but I also took a chance.
And if you're wondering if Dawn's Victory Sports Cafe will be showing the women's games this weekend on their mini TVs, Lynch says, of course.
All of them. If they're on TV, we'll have them. I have a menu that's all basketball oriented. We have drink specials that are basketball oriented. I hung some basketballs outside today. They're gonna blow away, but they're there.
I may or may not have already eaten at Dawn's Victory Sports Cafe twice in my time here in Albany, and I may or may not be going again after our show. The food is that good, but it's really cool to meet the other Dawn here in Albany, New York. Such good food, and this city really is excited for this weekend here at MVP Arena. So many great stories, so many great teams, and of course it continues tomorrow with Iowa versus Colorado and LSU versus UCLA. Those are 2 really big Sweet 16 battles. When it comes to the Gamecocks, Vereen, we'll be talking to them again tomorrow morning at 10:30. So we do get some more time with the Gamecocks tomorrow, but we won't be at their practice. The practice is closed ahead of the Elite 8 on Sunday, and Sunday's game against 3-seed Oregon State is set to tip off at 1 p.m. here in Albany, New York. Vereen, it's been a busy day and maybe a little more eventful than we were planning on, but South Carolina ultimately through to the Elite 8.
Yeah, Dal, thanks a lot for all your work. A couple exciting days up there in Albany and a couple more to go. Gamecocks will look to take lessons learned from that one into the Elite 8 next. So let's